Hi, this is Kate Valentine. I'm responding about the request you put on the police auction materials. I bought a few kids' books from that auction, actually a whole crate of them. At the time, I didn't look at them, I just put them on the bargain shelf in order of the author's names. I had never heard of the author or the book title, so I gave them all orange stickers, which meant 50 cents each. One day, it was particularly dead, so I paged through them, and I noticed this one with very simple, minimalistic drawings called Dave's Days. There was no cohesive story. Unlike other children's books that use each page as a part of a lesson, here there was none of that. One page was the Dave character sitting at a kitchen table with a mug in front of him. He was the kind of stick figure you see on bathroom doors. Dave's kitchen was written in block letters above him. The whole book was like that. Just Dave, sitting alone in one setting or another. The park, the library. I put the book away and looked through the others and found another one in the Dave series. This one was called Dave and His Friends. The cover was Dave outside his house, like the first, but next to him stood a little girl with a blonde ponytail. 2 boys and a girl, all brown-haired with freckles, looked out from the window inside the house. This book was all about Dave and these kids doing things together and going places like to the park and getting ice cream. Every time Dave did something nice for them, they'd say, "Dave is my friend." But since no one has a mouth and therefore no one is smiling, it only makes the whole thing odd, like when you read a happy text message without an exclamation mark. I put the book away. Later that night, I decided to Google the titles of the books. When I got nothing, I just Googled the things in the book, and eventually I Googled the phrase, "Dave is my friend." An article came up. It was about a girl named Jennifer Holland who had gone missing sometime earlier and about how her parents hadn't given up hope. It also alluded to police being suspicious of them as the circumstances of her disappearance were strange. They said they woke up to find their front door open and Jennifer gone. 2 things really struck me from the article. The first was that the last name Holland seemed significant. I couldn't remember why until I went back to the Dave books and saw that Dave lived in Hollandtown. The second thing, I'll get to that in a sec. After hours of searching for more information, I stumbled across a forum. I don't remember where, maybe on Reddit, but one subject said, "Has anyone read Dave and the Others?" It was a guy with the handle Oregon Ollie who had found an eerily similar book. The post was 2 years old. Later, I searched for Oregon Ollie, but his account was inactive. When he Googled the book, he didn't find anything either. But, like me, he started Googling everything in the book and found a news story, just like I had. 3 siblings had been found dead at Chipewyan Lake in Canada. They lay on the shore, holding hands. Their last name was Robin. They died from exposure. Mr. and Mrs. Robin woke up in the middle of the night by a cold wind the night their kids went missing. The door had been left wide open. It was January. The police found a note at the Robin home left by the kids, but the article said the investigators would not release the contents to the public. Oregon Ollie said that in his book, there were 3 red robins that would fly over Dave's head when he got sad. The book was mostly a man walking the city sidewalks at night or sitting at a park bench alone with the stars over him. Whenever Dave seemed sad, the robins would come and fly over his head, and he would just look up and watch. The second thing that I mentioned earlier that struck me in the first article I read was that Jennifer Holland had drawn a picture before she went missing. It was of a stick figure man and herself. Her parents didn't know what it was. She had written, "Dave is my friend," on it. I don't have the books anymore. I went back through them after reading Oregon Ollie's account, and seeing those 3 kids in the window of Dave's house freaked me out, so I threw them away. I still think about it, though. Sometimes I wish I kept them, but the thought of having them near me gives me the chills. I wasn't going to mention this, but after I read the Reddit account, I wrote my own post about it. No one ever picked up on it, but right after that, I started getting phone calls. When I answered, I would hear some electrical buzzing, but that was it. First, the calls were just at my house, but then I got them on my cell and even at work. Slowly, it died down, but I still get them from time to time. The last thought that crosses my mind when I lock my doors at night is, I wonder if it's Dave calling me. And I wonder if he's there somewhere, watching my house when I go to bed. Sometimes I move my bureau in front of the door just to be safe. Yeah!
Jason was a kleptomaniac since as long back as he could remember. Ever since he could steal, he would. He remembers his mom used to get so mad at him when he was a small kid for stealing different items from his peers at school. His mother didn't experience anything else bad about his behaviour apart from the stealing, although there was one very distressing experience his little brother had when they were both small. They were in the woods and Jason stole his father's gun, and there was a dog that seemed lost. Jason used the gun to shoot the dog dead, and his brother started crying, but Jason just started laughing and said, "Come on, let's get out of here." Jason's brother Simon told his mom Susan, and she grounded Jason for almost a month. But when it came to stealing, he wasn't in the need for anything. He just had the impulse to steal as much as he could and as often as he could. If he was inside a restaurant, he would steal the knife and fork, and sometimes even plate, even though he had many more at home that he stole. He was caught a few times and even spent a few months behind bars when he was 21. He had counselling to try to stop his impulses to steal, but nothing worked. He kept stealing as much and often as he could. One time, he even stole from his own best friend. They were out for a drive. Jason's friend Jack stopped at a gas station to fill up. While his friend was inside paying, Jason stole his friend's phone and put it in a secret pocket in his bag. No one could find it there. As they were driving up a lonely road, they knew that they were in the back of the Beyonds, and there was no GPS in the car, so they were lost. Jack regretted driving so much out into the outback. Suddenly he was startled as a dog stood right in front of the car. The car swerved and crashed right into a tree. Jason got a flashback of years and years and years before when he shot the dog out in the woods. Jason was knocked unconscious and was in a very bad way. Jack tried to get his phone from where he left it on the car's dashboard, but could not find it. Jason was bleeding very badly and could not speak. Jason knew Jack's phone was in his secret pocket, but he could not manage to get the words out. Jack kept looking for his phone to call 911, knowing the paramedics would have to come in at least 5 or 10 minutes at most, or else he would be gone. He knew it was too late when he saw Jason go pale, and the blood began to pour out of him even more. Jason died knowing his stealing finally caught up with him. Hello, my name is Paul. Let me tell you about a really frightening experience I had. I was so shocked by what happened that now when I go out, I make sure to check for my phone to make sure it's there, and to look around if I'm walking alone on a street to make sure no one is following me. I don't even feel safe in my own home. A person's home is meant to be their sanctuary, but I don't even feel safe there. I was having a night out with my friend Jason, and we were at a bar. It was quiet, but that suited me. I didn't like busy clubs or bars. I just liked to chill out and relax. We were enjoying our drinks and chatting when I checked my phone to make a call. I was upset when I realized my phone was gone. I asked my friend to call it to see could we hear it. Maybe I dropped it somewhere, and the bar was so quiet that if I did, I more than likely would hear it ring. My friend gave me his phone, and there was an answer after 3 rings. There was just a weird giggle at the end of the phone, and when I rang back, there was no answer. Later that night, when I got home, I saw my phone sitting on the sofa where I now remembered I must have left it. But then it hit me, who was the person who answered giggling? Suddenly I heard movement behind me, and when I looked, there was nothing. I heard what sounded like a dog howling and quickly followed it down to my basement. When I walked down the steps and turned the light in the basement on, I saw what looked like a starved boy looking up at me, and he gave the same giggle that was on the phone. I got such a fright I ran up the steps and locked the door and rang the police. When the police arrived, there was no boy to be found in the basement. I watched TV that night and tried to figure out where the boy went. Suddenly my phone rang, and when I picked it up, I could hear the giggling. I shouted into the phone, and when I looked at it, I realized the battery died. But the giggling was still there. I froze in fear, knowing that the giggling must have came from inside my living room. I looked around but could see nothing. I never heard the giggling again. But wherever I go, I feel like that creepy boy is going to pounce on me and attack me while giggling. I can't understand what it is, but I'm living in fear constantly.